Privilege is all around you. It's useless until you recognize it. So it's time to stop feeling guilty and figure out how to use your privilege to make an impact. I'm Amber Cabral, and this is Guilty Privilege. Hi, I'm Amber Cabral, and this is the final episode of Guilty Privilege. So you heard me right. This will be the last episode of the Guilty Privilege podcast. I started this podcast because I felt like people really didn't understand what privilege was. And I wanted people to know that we all have some. And the best way to show up as an ally is to have awareness of the ways that you have abundance in your own life. So I brought on people I knew and people I love and people I've had an opportunity to work with so that we could have folks show you how they were using their privilege in their day-to-day lives. We've laughed, we've cried, and we've learned together. And now it's 2025. And it's time to move on to a new chapter. Over the last year, there have been some pretty pointed attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion, which many of you know is part of what I do for my day job. As a result, I'm changing. The industry is changing, and our audience is evolving to need something different. So I'm starting a new podcast. It's going to be on the Women's Empowerment Network on SiriusXM, and the name of the podcast is Humaning Well. Because I know that in times of challenge, we need to remember to center our humanity and prioritize our wellness so that we can ride the waves. So I would love for you to join me as a subscriber for the new podcast. I am so excited about it. And I think that if you like Guilty Privilege, you're going to love what we're doing over on that pod too. And you can find the link for Humaning Well in the show notes below. Also, episodes will continue to be available for you to watch and share. I learned so much doing this podcast, and I will absolutely still be sharing clips from these meaty episodes well into the future. So if you've got a favorite clip or a favorite episode, it will still be there. So thank you so much for being a part of the Guilty Privilege podcast family, and I hope to see you over on Humaning Well.